Good evening, Jeff here with It's Not Your Fault. Thanks for tuning in tonight with a new video tonight, and hopefully the people that have been tuning in are getting something out of these videos. I'm going to keep on doing them as long as people keep on liking them and subscribing. Up to, let's see, 13,000 subscribers. Nope, that's 13. 13. So I'm very happy with all the people that have taken the time to subscribe. Keep it coming. The more likes in the channel, the more people that can actually maybe benefit from the video. So let's keep those likes coming, keep the subscriptions coming. Leave a comment. I love to hear from people as we go along. I've been talking about the steps the past few weeks. I covered step one and step two. Step two last week was pretty in depth. But tonight I'm going to go a little off track and talking about detaching with love. Um, Detaching with love is something that means uh, when you've done all you can do and it's time to just let your loved one figure it out. Um, we've all been there. If you are tuning into this channel, you've have lived with or live with an alcoholic or addict, and you realize that you're dealing with a very um, confusing situation, a crazy situation, something that makes no sense whatsoever. Why someone would want to keep on doing the things that have absolutely ruined their life to that point doesn't make any sense. I I submit to all of you. It's time to stop thinking with a logical mind. You have to start thinking with a logical mind. You're dealing with an illogical situation. Um, when you've done all you can do logically, the things that make sense, we as human beings are geared in our brains and our hearts and our souls and our spirit to help our fellow human beings, our fellow man. And when you add the dynamic of your loved one, someone that you have that's family, you have that, it even amps it up even more. I mean, you help your loved ones and your family more than you would help just the average person off the street, or maybe you're an employee that you work with, or a coworker, etc. And why is that? Because we have that common bond of love, and that love kind of changes everything. It's a uh, it's a, a a layer of benefit that most people wouldn't get because of the fact that they are family members. So when I tell people all the time, you have approached this situation so far in your life, you've approached this insane insane situation with logic, and where's it gotten you? It's gotten you crazier. It's gotten you depressed. It's gotten you upset. It's gotten you angry. It's gotten you broke. It's gotten you lonely. Um, so addiction makes you change all the rules. I mentioned last night in my Al-Anon meeting that addiction is always up for a challenge. It will rise to any occasion. Whenever you say it can't get any worse, addiction will um, uh, change your mind about that. It always rises to the occasion. So whenever you think it can't get any worse, don't say that out loud. Um, when I talk about detaching with love, the best way I can explain detaching with love in a visual sense is when you've done everything you think that you possibly could do logically and nothing's changed, you grab your loved one by the shoulders, give them a kiss on the cheek, and push them away. You have to push the bird out of the nest and have them figure it out on their own. Um, if it feels like it's the wrong thing to do, it's the right thing to do. We have this habit of trying to make everything, fix everything, and make it all better, especially parents. Parents, we have this innate ability since birth until they go out on their own, even then some, to try and fix it. Dads, especially, man, dad's the worst when it comes to the kids come to us and they run to us and they're like, Dad, I need your help. Don't tell your mother. We'll take care of it. We'll fix it. When you add the recipe of addiction, you can't approach your loved one's addiction or alcoholism anymore with the parental guidance we've all grown up with. It has to be a little bit different. I've always likened it to the fact that, or to the image that if you make a decision to deal with your loved one and it feels like it makes sense, it was the right thing to do, you have peace about it, it makes sense to you, you're happy about it, you probably did the wrong thing. Why is that? Because addiction is an illogical situation. Addiction is nonsensical. If it makes sense to us and it makes us feel good, we're doing it because, in a selfish way, it made us feel good. It made us feel better. I gave them some money. I gave them gas. I paid their rent. I paid their car payment. I found another job. Um, I bailed them out. I paid their tickets, etc. We do that because it makes us feel better. Subconsciously, and maybe consciously also. Again, especially parents, if it's a parental thing, and you go, well, I would do it if they were in middle school, high school, elementary school, just getting married, I'd help them out a little bit. But if you keep on taking care of their needs, it's a cliche, but they're never going to figure it out on their own. I mentioned in my first video, or my second video, my grandfather took me to go see Ringling Brothers and Barnum Blaze Circus at Madison Square Garden. I was about seventh or eighth grade. No, seventh or 8 years old. I was a wee blow in the Boy Scouts. Um, as far as I made it was wee blows. I'm sorry. But we went to Madison Square Garden. I remember seeing this big, beautiful ring and the big top and the whole thing. And I remember seeing this beautiful, huge, shiny net under the trapeze. And I asked my grandfather, "What is that?" And he said, "That's a trapeze, a trapeze net." "What's it for, Grandpa?" And he said, "In case they fall, they can fall into the net." I said, "Well, Grandpa, doesn't it say death defying?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, how is that death defying? They just fall in the net, they bounce. Actually looks kind of fun." Um, he didn't like that. Grandpa was about 6'5", 300 pounds, fedora, trench coat, real intimidating kind of guy. Um, if you ever seen The Godfather, I think of Luca Brasi, my grandfather. Um, but the point was made that you're not really defying death if there's always a safety net. We, as habitual enablers, habitual codependents, will be that safety net for our loved ones. And again, it makes sense to always help them because they're our loved one. Why would you not help somebody you love? But the problem is that they'll keep on taking risks, knowing that there's always that safety net. You'll see the craziest trapeze artists do the most amazing things on a high wire or a trapeze because they're let that net's there. They're not really in any danger to the to a degree of risking bodily harm or death because there's always that net there. If we continue to be our loved one's net, they're never going to have that most powerful learning experience of utter failure. You can't deny somebody. You are not. You don't have the right to deny somebody the right of failure, the learning experience of utter failure, utter embarrassment, utter bottom. We've always heard this term, well, they hit rock bottom. Well, let them. Let them hit rock bottom, or they're never, ever going to learn from their mistakes and from the actions they made. We all have made choices in life. We've all made choices in life that put us to where we are right now. If we interfere with them making the wrong choice, they'll continue to make it over and over and over and over again. Does that make sense? I'm asking that like you guys can talk to me. I'm sorry. But again, if you deny somebody the the learning experience of failure, you're not benefiting them at all. So if it feels good to give them money or to sign them up for rehab for the upteenth time, or get them in recovery and take money out of your 401k to go ahead and pay, for their apartment or whatever. If it makes us feel good, it's because that's human nature to help people. I had a conversation with one of my people in my group recently. Let's call her Myra. And I said, if it feels like you swallowed a whole nest of hornets and they're stinging inside of your body and it feels awful, it was probably the right decision. The hardest thing I ever had to do in my life, and this is coming from a Cold War veteran, I've seen it all, I've done it all, had the t-shirt, was telling my loved one they had to get out of the house. Telling my loved one they had to leave. I did it. I held up my head. I said, this is a choice you made, not my choice. And as soon as they walked out the door, I fell on my hands and knees and cried like a child. Absolutely true story. It felt all wrong, but it was right because it made a change in their life. Again, there's such cliches with addiction. You've heard 1,000 times. The same situations over and over and over again. Well, cliches are cliches for a reason because they're repetitive. You see them over and over and over again. If we continue to not allow somebody to screw up, then they're going to continue doing it. If we always bail them out, if we always allow them to come back in our life and say, "Hey, can you just one more time? Can you help me out with a little extra money? Can you help me out with this? Can you help? Listen, I'm your sibling. I'm your son, your daughter. I'm your husband. I'm your wife. Help me out. I need your help." One thing about addiction is very resourceful. Addiction will find a way to survive. If you don't help addiction, it'll find a way for somebody else. Okay. I've used this example before. I kind of liken addiction to a parasite, and a parasite will keep the host alive just long enough to feed it. And if it can't find a food source here, it'll go someplace else. Don't feel like if you don't help this person, you're the only person who can help them. And if you don't help them, it's all going to be over. Well, that's our ego getting in the way. That's our ego. And when you let your ego get in the way, what is ego? It is edging God out. All right. If you constantly get in the way of someone's recovery, and we do it all the time because we don't want to see them fail. We don't want to see them homeless, penniless, hungry. Of course not. We don't want to see that. But if we keep on feeding their addiction, and enabling and codependency is feeding someone's addiction, you are just as guilty of buying them the drugs or alcohol if you pay their rent, if you pay their car payment, if you pay their cell phone bill. You might as well go and give money for drugs because the money they would have used for their food, they can now use for the drugs or their alcohol. Does that make sense? Again, I'm asking like you guys can hear me. Just speak out anytime. So my head is very shiny. Makeup? Nope, all by myself. Sorry. So let's let's try and keep in mind that when you're dealing with a logical situation, stop making logical decisions. Do what's the polar opposite of what's wired in your head. If it makes perfect sense to go ahead and pay their car payment because they have to be able to go look for a job, don't do it. Why'd you do it? The best indicator of future behavior is what? That's right, Jimmy. Past behavior. Past behavior is the best indicator of future behavior. Don't think it's going to change because they're getting older. Well, maybe this is the last time. You know what? I'll help out one more time and they'll figure it out. The best teaching, the best classroom, the best course study is on the job training. What I mean by that is allowing them to figure it out on their own. It doesn't always have to be you all the time. Detach with love. Give them a kiss on the cheek, hug them, push them away. They'll figure it out. There's only either they're going to figure it out or they're going to find someone else to use for a while. Find someone else to use so they can use, I guess. Um, that that safety net, if you remove it, if you removed your loved one, if you remove yourself as being your loved one's safety net, they're going to get bruised. They're going to get broken. They're going to get battered. They're going to get bloodied. But they can heal. They can heal if you allow them to hurt themselves and then figure it out. But if we keep on stopping them from hurting themselves, as far as I'm not talking about suicide or like that, but if you prevent somebody from the learning experience of pain, embarrassment, bruising, scarring, you know, if you see somebody that's, I as a veteran, I recently went down to the VA to explore some healthcare options, and I see people my age, younger than me, with prosthetics, arms blown off, legs ripped off from all the horrors they've seen. But when you see somebody who's battling addiction or alcoholism and they feel like there's no hope, there's no prosthetic for that. The prosthetic has to be giving it up to your higher power and saying, I can't do this no more. And God will carry you through it. Your higher power will carry you through it. We constantly get in the way of our loved one's recovery. We get in the way of our own serenity. Sometimes we can actually become addicted in our own way to our loved ones' addiction. We feel like we're the only ones that can help them. Well, no one else is going to help them. It has to be me. And you pick up the cross, and you put it over your shoulder and say, it has to be me, Lord. I'm going to carry this cross for my loved one. I'm going to be Simon of Cyrene and carry the cross for my loved one. It was just Easter's coming up, so I just thought about that. Um, Carrying someone else's cross, while noble and honorable, is not your job. Your job is to take care of yourself. And preventing your loved one from figuring it out on their own and finding their own way doesn't help anybody. I've seen people, once again, over and over and over again, bring their loved one to recovery meetings, to rehab, to addiction centers, empty their bank account, empty their life savings, their 401k, sell their home. Absolutely true story. Sell their home, sell their businesses to help their loved one battle with their addiction. But it's like throwing good money after bad if they don't have it inside them to make the choice they want to get better. They can go through the actions and say, yeah, I guess I'll go and figure it out. No, until they actually have that aha moment, Mary, and they hear that synapses fire in their brain and go, I can't do this no more. Everything around me has gone to hell, has gone to absolute chaos because of this demon inside me. How do I stop this from moving on and destroying everything? They have to make the decision. You can't drag somebody to recovery. You can't buy recovery. You can't buy sobriety. Doesn't matter if it's $100,000 a year facility, $100,000 a month facility, $20,000 a day facility. It doesn't matter. They have to make the choice that they're ready. And until they're ready, all the facilities in the world aren't going to change anything. So if you get your head around the fact that it's not up to you to make things better for them, they have to find their own sobriety. You can't force it upon them. Again, cliche, you can lead a horse to recovery, but you can't make him stop drinking. So I did there, huh?
That was easy.
Yeah. Look at that. I got special effects for you guys. Best $3 ever spent. But it's exactly right. If you if you get in someone's way of figuring it out, you know, somebody used a analogy one time. If a stray cat comes to your back window, your back door, and you feed it, it'll lose its ability to feed itself. If we continue to help our loved ones over and over and over and over and over again, you don't kick the bird out of the nest. If you don't stop paying their bills for them, they will suck you dry. And when you're destitute, broke, penniless, homeless, along with them, what good are you to them? They'll find somebody else to go on to, and they'll step over your lifeless body that's been beaten and battered and bruised and sucked dry. They'll step over you to go to the next host. Don't be that person. So much easier said than done. It's so much easier to talk about these things than actually doing them. Um, I recently had to dust off my tools in my clubs in my bag because of an incident in my family. And it's difficult. You're allowed not to like people you love. Okay? Write that down. You're allowed to not like people that you love. And when people that you love constantly disappoint you, constantly betray you, constantly let you down because of the actions they've done, the choices they've made, the free will they have, the choices they've made in their life, and they keep on coming back and saying, "You got to help me. I can't believe you won't help me." Making the decision to go ahead and block them, turn your phone off, say no, it's counterintuitive to your human nature, but it's the right thing to do. Again, easier said than done. If after you make the choice to stop helping them, you feel like you just swallowed a big nest of fire ants and they're stinging your insides, heart, soul, lungs, spirit, the whole thing, you made the right choice. We have a very wise member of our group. And when I say wise, I mean wisdom fold. Wisdom, full of wisdom. And FYI, wisdom doesn't come from a book. You can't get wisdom from a book. You can get knowledge from a book, but wisdom comes from God. Wisdom only comes from a higher power. Wisdom is knowledge accompanied with a higher power's influence in your life. So don't think you can go on this all by yourself. Look at my video on step two. You got to give it over to your higher power. But we have a very wise member of our group. He's quiet. He's he's very direct when he talks. He has the most beautiful snow white hair and a white mustache. I won't say his name. I don't want to betray his anonymity. But when he talks, he's talking from experience, and everyone gets quiet and focuses on him because he's a very wise person. And wisdom is like a lottery ticket that you can cash in and go, I can use this. And whenever you go to these your meetings and someone that's been going for a long time decides to say something, best advice, shut up and listen. Listen, not just hear, but listen. We all have this human trait of not listening. We hear, but we don't listen. Listening is much more important than just hearing. I'm 50 years old, and I grew up listening to the best music in the world, 80s music. Best music ever, right? 80s music, when I was growing up, I listened to it, I bop my head and I dance with my shoulder pads and my Don Johnson look at Miami Vice outfit, the whole thing. True story. I had one. And I would just sing along to the music. not really listening to what the music was saying, just listening, just hearing the lyrics and sing along with them. Until I got a little older, I started listening to someone actually listening to the lyrics of these songs, and I go, "Oh my God, that's, they always said that." Yeah, because again, you're distancing yourself from the message of the song. All you're hearing is the music and the beat and the enjoying it. Um, Big Prince fan growing up, and if my parents only knew what he was actually saying in some of his songs, I probably would have lost the access to my 8-track player. 8-track player. That's how old I am. Columbia Record and Tape Club. 12, 15 8 tracks for a penny. Good stuff. Never paid the bill. I think my father did. Anyway, I digress. Um, let's take a word from our sponsor. Okay, let's see. Nope, just still me. All by just me and you talking. Um, Again, it's. I really enjoy doing these videos because I get an opportunity to talk to people that normally wouldn't hear me, and at the same time, I don't ever script these things out. I'll leave myself a note or two. Whenever I start talking, I really don't know what I'm going to say. It just comes out. And my wife, I'll go home. My wife asks me, how'd it go? And I'll go, I don't know. What you talking about? I don't remember. And that's the truth. I really don't remember. So I watch everything the next day. Um, I do these because they are therapeutic, they're helpful. And I hope that you can understand that detaching with love is not the absence of love. It is love. As a parent, as a loved one of your loved one, don't you want them to get better? Well, trust me when I tell you, the only way they're ever going to get better if you stop getting in the way of their recovery. Stop blocking their path towards failure. If they fail, if they get themselves bruised, if they touch the candle and they burn their finger, they won't do it anymore. Allow them to do that. If you allow them to do it, they won't do it anymore. It might take a couple times. But in the meantime, sever that tie and you work on yourself. Work your steps. Talk to your sponsor. Become a sponsor. Pray. Meditate. These are things that we can do. These are our clubs in our bag to keep us on the path. Wife loves to use the term stay on the beam. In elementary school, middle school, growing up in Connecticut, we used to have the bouncing beam, stay on the beam. And we had in gym class. Well, how you do that is you take your time, you balance yourself, keep your arms out. And if you keep your arms out, you allow the Holy Spirit to help you out. Um, Again, I want to thank the ones who have tuned in and subscribed and liked, made comments. Please make comments. Please like my and subscribe to these videos because again, if someone leaves a like or a comment, I kind of feel like I've accomplished something. I love going to my meetings because magical things happen at our meetings. They really do. And again, I kind of feel like it sounds insane, but I feel blessed that addiction fell into my life because I was able to find a different connection to my higher power. And I found the most amazing people in the world to take this journey with. A never ending journey, mind you. You never, ever, ever graduate from these classes. You don't get a diploma and go, okay, you're done. Come on, you're all finished. No, you keep on coming back. I've got people in my group are coming 20, 50, 25, 25, 30 years or more because it's a never ending thing. And it's just because your loved one gets sober doesn't mean that you have to stop working your program. Because part of sobriety, unfortunately, part of recovery is relapse. If they relapse, what are you going to do? Brush off your notes and start thinking about it all over again? You have to make sure you maintain your serenity and your tools you have available to you. Let's go ahead and take a call real fast. Let's see. Let's see. We got Mike in Greenville. Nope. Nope. Still just me. Tune back in later on. God bless you.